Well, believe it or not, you're here on Super Bowl 58 Radio Row. You guys have been joining us all week. And ladies and gentlemen, the AEW International Champion, Orange Cassidy, is joining us, and he has promised, we have confirmed it with his handler, he will care.
I will care. That's the first time anybody's referred to as a handler. So
that, Adam, does that work?
Yeah, he likes it.
Is this a 24/7 falls anywhere? Can I win this title right now?
No, it's not.
Dang it.
But you know what? It's really not that hard to get a shot at it. Apparently, if you just have to ask me for a title shot, and then I give it to you. Why I have more title defenses than anybody else in AEW, because I don't care, and when you care, you end up doing too much more. So there you go.
So can I have a title shot?
Yeah, you gotta get in the ring and do it. I can't do it here.
How about in Henderson, Nevada on Saturday? Tickets available now.
So you could come, but you'll have to wait in line, because on Saturday, in Henderson, I am wrestling for my international championship against Tomohiro Ishii, who is a famous Japanese professional wrestling legend whose nickname is the Stone Pitbull.
Oh boy!
And
these Japanese guys, man.
And I have to fight him for my championship, so I am not looking forward to it. So how about you can ask him if you can take his place, but I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work out well.
Doesn't sound like it would go well for me, and I like kind of how my body's situated here. No bruising, all my bones are in place. So,
well, Orange, I mean, we're all about the same age, so I want to talk. We're such fans of vintage wrestling. I'm a vintage wrestling action figure collector. I don't know if you delve into that at all. I know you have a couple cool AEW figures that are actually hard to find at Walmart and Target.
Yeah, for some reason, I have an action figure that they decided to make, and I always apologize to those guys when I see them, those guys and girls, when I see them about my action figure, because I know how difficult it was, because they decided to make me be able to put my hands in my pockets in the action figure. And I know that was very stressful for them, but they figured it out, and it's an amazing thing. Never did I ever think that a company would spend so much money trying to figure out how to put my hands in my pockets, but here we are.
Just talking about kind of retro wrestling back in the 90s, the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars. Were you a fan of that? Were you watching, and what side were you on, WCW versus WWE?
I kind of watched it all. I really, I don't discriminate. I watch all types of different wrestling. I was also really heavily influenced by ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling. And, I would stay up all night trying to figure out what channel they'd be on. And I'd see some random matches. And I thought to myself, like, I could do that. So I went in my backyard and smashed my friends around a little bit. And yet I'm still doing it here. I'm here at the Super Bowl because of it.
We actually talked to Travis Kelce yesterday at the team hotel. He and his brother Jason, big wrestling fans growing up. And they talked about how the move of choice for them, not quite the doom kicks, but they were power bombing each other through their parents' floors.
Yeah.
They moved the couch over it to make sure that they didn't see it. They did get in trouble for it. So, man, back in the day, there was no one telling us, like, you shouldn't try this at home because, damn it, we were going to do it anyway. I'm sure you won a couple backyard wrestling leagues of your own.
Yeah, it's like, back then, we didn't have remember when you had to call your friends up on the phone?
Yes.
And see if they were home to see if they could go hang out? Like, do you remember when it was just a crapshoot to show up to someone's house and be like, hey, are you here? First of all, are you here? And then, do you want to go do this thing?
Yeah.
And I think about that a lot. And we were just bored. And we wanted to do something. So you get some mattresses, push them together, and start pile driving each other. That's how you do it.
Absolutely. We've got a fan question here. Clear the air with E. Who does Orange want to wrestle at Revolution?
Oh, I mean, well, Roderick Strong has already challenged me for Revolution. And that's March, excuse me, that is March 3rd in Greensboro, North Carolina. It's on pay-per-view. You can buy it, watch it. Roger Strong has challenged me for that. But that's March 3rd, right?
Yeah.
There's still like many more weeks before that.
They're jumping the gun.
So I'm not going to stop wrestling. I'm not going to stop defending my championship.
Yeah.
So thus the match I'm having Saturday, and then there's always somebody else that wants a shot, and I'm just going to give it to them.
And God forbid someone beat you for it between now and then.
And then they can wrestle Roderick Strong. But you know what? That's not going to happen. I also have to say Revolution, that big event we're having in Greensboro, North
Sting's
Carolina,
last match.
It's Sting's last match. And I can never stress enough how important Sting was to AEW and professional wrestling as a whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Throughout his career, but especially for us at AEW, like that guy has done a lot for us, and we are very, very grateful to him. So for him to have his own a proper send off is very, very nice to see. So come see him.
Absolutely. And I wanted to ask you kind of your first thought process or moment when you realized Sting is coming to AEW.
I said, nah. No way that's happening. And then next thing you know, me and Sting are on the outside of the ring kicking each other in the shins. It just happened so fast.
Okay, so follow me on this one. I'm not Tony Khan. I'm not an AEW creative, nor am I Steve Borden, the Stinger himself. I think for this last match, we need to see an incarnation. And I feel like you could make this happen because you kind of have the retro vibe. You kind of have the hair. Sting back as the Surfer one more time. I want to see it.
Hey, if you want to see it, you can ask him. I'm not going to ask him. I don't want to. Sting is a very, very nice, great man, but he's terrifying. And if you want to ask him to be go back to good luck.
Come on, think about it. The Great American Bash, red, white, and blue, trunks against Ric Flair. I'm all that stuff is so iconic. I viewed those guys as larger than life comic book heroes. Hogan, Warrior, all of it was so colorful. And I think that wrestling, the resurgence is on.
It is.
The more brands, the more that there is out there for consumers. WWE's here, of course, big events going on, WrestleMania announcements, but AEW in town as well.
Yep.
To have those options kind of remind you of what Noah was alluding to,
Yes.
the 90s, and that I feel like that's kind of where we're heading back to right now.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a different take. We'll never have that again.
Yeah,
the WCW versus WWF stuff. It just won't happen again.
Yeah,
that'll never exist ever again. I'm just grateful that I am part of a company that is run by genuinely great people, that we can attract other genuine great people and put on professional wrestling that is a smorgasbord, a buffet of professional wrestling. You can see lucha libre, you can see Japanese strong style, you can see technical wrestling,
blood and guts,
high flying. You will see blood,
literal,
like literally, you will see it. And I think that's important. That a mainstream company is giving those options and not saying like, this is what you have to watch and this is what we're going to tell you to watch. So I'm just very, very lucky. I mean, hey, they let me put my hands in my pockets on national television, so I can't complain too much, right?
Absolutely. And who are some of those idols that you looked up to in wrestling back in the day, and maybe some of the moves that you loved, the best finishers?
So I didn't really like. I watch wrestling, obviously. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to be different. I never wanted to be like anybody else. Mm-hmm. So
You've accomplished that.
I've actively went to be the exact opposite of everybody else, so that no one could say like, oh, Orange Cassidy's like a blah, blah, blah. Orange
like the Shockmaster or something.
Right. Yeah, please. I mean, I'd take that. But like, I wanted people to say like, no, there is only one Orange Cassidy. And sometimes that could be polarizing, but I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep doing it.
Love it.
Well, it worked. When I first learned about AEW, it stood out. I like things that are different, that stand out. I think sometimes it's that simple for a viewer. Definitely accomplish that. So you talked about Sting being, just such a standard bearer for AEW and what he's done for the company. Another wrestler we have to talk about that was kind of in on that from the ground up is Chris Jericho. I got to admit, I'm a huge Fozzy fan.
You are?
Have you ever seen Fozzy
Name
live?
5 Fozzy songs.
Okay. Drinking with Jesus.
Okay.
Judas.
Gotcha. Oh, that's a gimme.
Oh, okay. Well, that was on a Fozzy album.
No, you're right. I'm just saying that is a gimme. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that's a gimme.
Okay. They To Kill a Stranger.
Okay.
Let's see. From this last Enemy.
This is more than I know.
Okay.
So I'm just telling you.
Oh, so
I
we
only,
went through
I
this for
only know
nothing.
Judas. Yeah. I just only know
So
Judas.
I could just say
you could be
anything,
making up
just-
names. I'm like, yeah, that's okay.
So you never seen the band live. What are we doing here? You look like you'd be dressed for it right
Oh,
now.
I've seen the band live. That was on the Jericho cruise. I've seen them.
Yes. I mean,
They're great.
actually, my favorite Chris Jericho band is now Quarantine. The
Yeah,
Kiss,
they're great
the 80s
too.
Kiss cover
They're
band.
great too. They're great too. Believe me, I've been there. I was on stage with Chris Jericho. No one, hey, well, this is you guys get an exclusive. During the Jericho cruise, I just got on stage with Chris Jericho and I forget the band, but like, some of the Fozzy members were there, and we sang Don't Stop Believing, and the crowd just started throwing clothing at me, like hats and shirts. So I just kept putting them on.
I think I've
And by
seen
the
that.
end of the song, I'm just wearing like a mountain of hats and shirts and scarves. And like, there is video of that somewhere.
I think I've seen it. I think
Yeah.
I've seen a photo or something. That's awesome.
So yeah, I know Fozzy.
Well, I hope
we-
I passed your test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you only named 4. I was counting, but
That's more. I'll give him that. That's
Okay.
It's fine.
we are here at the Super Bowl, so I guess we've got to talk some football here. Before we went on the air, you said you
I mean,
love
do we
Kansas
have
City.
to? You have
Great
to?
wrestling. Yes. It's in our
You're staring
contract.
at it, Orange. You're staring
Yes.
at the standard bearer of the National Football League right here. Learn to live it. Learn to love it. This is the gold standard. Chris Jericho came to Kansas City in January of 2020. He stepped in the ring and he said, Aaron Mahomes, his name's Patrick Mahomes, by the way, you're a piece of shit. And you know what? I take offense to that. I believe the entire AEW brand represents anti-Chiefs. Clear the air right now. Tell us that you're on the board with the Kansas City Chiefs winning their 3rd Super Bowl in 5 years.
Well, no, yeah, probably, but like, no one.
You don't care,
That
do
wasn't
you?
said
bad. Come on.
No one. I think you made that up. I don't
did.
think anybody says they're anti-Chiefs in AEW. I think you made that up. Hey, come on! Don't
It's called
slander
a
us.
promo. I don't know.
Don't. Well, it's a false promo. You can't just lie. And say it's a
Jericho, your
promo.
guy Jericho, he stepped in the ring and said it.
You can't lie to everybody and say it's a promo. You can. It was delivered very passionately.
Thank you. That's all I needed.
Here's the promo I'm going to say back. Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, they're going to win. That's my promo. That's my ability to cut promos.
We
See,
tried.
I don't do that very often.
We tried.
Gosh, you do what you can
Hey,
here
go
on
Chiefs,
video.
right?
You're a New Jersey guy. Did you
Yes.
grow up with a favorite team? Or did you like sports at all? Or was it
I was
just skateboarding and like
I'm everywhere.
Gwinnett?
I'm up and down. I'm everywhere. I like them all. Like I try not to discriminate against teams. I like wherever I'm at. Like I like them all. I like it all.
okay, John
I just
Cena?
want everybody to have fun. I said that before and someone got really mad. So
I was about
I think
to.
I'm going to say that forever. Like, who do you want to win? I just hope both teams have fun.
I love that.
That is and it drives people crazy.
Well, as long as the condiments are properly placed, the fan entrance in and out goes smoothly. I think that we call that a win.
Yes.
We got these figures up here, these former Chiefs.
Yeah.
Where's the Orange Cassidy? What are we doing here?
The one in the pockets.
Yes.
Hey, it's not my fault my figure sells out wherever it goes. You know what I mean? It's very popular.
It's like a TikTok trend. Like people going into Targets and like, oh look, here's Danhausen. Oh look,
Yeah.
here's Jared. But no, never.
No Orange Cassidy. Sorry.
Well, that's okay. We're
One
gonna
of a kind. I
let that
guess.
one slide.
Or they're just expensive to make and they stopped. But I don't know. What do I know?
I want to talk to you about old school pay-per-views. Were you someone that you're their parents? You tricked your parents into ordering them. You did it without them knowing. Or do you remember the era of pay-per-view when you had to like call and had a cable box set up? Or do you just kind of remember the like you just press it on the button type thing and your parents aren't the wiser?
Nope. Go to my friend's house. They have a black box and that's how we did it.
Oh, that's no fun.
I mean, that's how we did it. Like they stole the cable, not me. I didn't do it.
What about the difference in the WWF pay-per-views from back then versus WCW? Those had themes. You had Halloween
I loved
Havoc
it.
and Great American Bash. I mean, the pay-per-views, they usually they tried to win the Monday Night War so much they'd have Hogan Goldberg on a Monday night, and then that would ruin the pay-per-view.
Right.
But they did have the theme pay-per-views. You got to love that.
Yeah. I mean, we do too. Like Revolution in March is like computers,
That's
technology, and then Full Gear is gears. Double or Nothing, Vegas. It's in Vegas.
Okay, spin
Double
the
or
wheel, make
Nothing.
the deal,
Yeah,
opportunity.
That's how you there is a casino battle royale that they do every year. So, hey, they're out there. You're just not looking hard enough.
That's fair. You guys have 3 major shows now on network television.
Yes.
Does that, as a wrestler and as a performer, do you feel like that oversaturates the market at all? Or are you one that just like, hey, as many shows, as many eyes that can get on this product? I know you guys have the YouTube After Dark as well. as many eyes on the product, that's all good with you.
Yeah. We have such a large roster with so many talented people. And I feel like even from 8 to 10 on Wednesdays, it's the show called Dynamite on TBS.
Yep.
Then on Friday, there's Rampage from 10 to 11 on TNT. And then Saturday from 8 to 10 is Collision on TNT. Still, that's not enough time for all the talented wrestlers that we have.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a good option for somebody that maybe they can't watch Wednesday night, or they'll watch Friday, or and I think the more the better. And also, if people didn't want to watch it, the networks wouldn't give us shows. So we're doing something right.
Yeah, and just speaking on that, talk about kind of where AEW started when you got there to where you've seen it grown to now.
Yeah,
and please don't tell Chris Jericho I said this, but one man can't carry a whole show. He might bring eyes, but then you, the rest of the talent, people get to see and love. But
I think Chris Jericho understood that.
Yeah.
And which is why, he understood that this is a new thing. I can open eyes to something brand new. And that's why him and I wrestled for 3 months over a summer during a pandemic with nobody watching. And then I punched him, and I ended our feud by punching him in the face with him falling through a giant pool of mimosa. That's just what happened. And he understood that. And I think because of Chris Jericho and guys like Chris Jericho, we were talking like a John Moxley. They came they came here and they embraced it, and we've tripled in size. I'm that's probably too light.
Yeah,
and we've almost 2.5 times doubled our TV time. Like the growth is very, very important, but it's also like it's still not enough. Which is, I don't know how you solve that. I'm not. I'm not a businessman, but we'll figure it out.
Well, I'll tell you this, I know the wrestlers talk about it. I know it's with the internet and with podcasts, Eric Bischoff, when he takes the chance, when he gets it, he buries Tony Khan, he buries AEW. What do you have to say to Eazy-E? I mean, he was a guy that did a lot of great things for WCW, and he just doesn't.
I used to, I get this question. I get these types of questions and things a lot, like especially early on in my career. They're like, "Oh, this guy said this." I'm like, great, that's your opinion. And I appreciate that opinion. Thanks for watching, by the way. But sometimes I don't even watch. They don't even watch. They just say, but like because you say that, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. Like the only person like I'm going to listen to is myself. And it's like, sure, great. You could complain and cry about it all you want, but I'm not going to stop being me. And if you hated us so much, you wouldn't watch it, but you watch, so you like it.
And back in the day, you had two of the best announcers, Tony Schiavone on WCW, JR on WWF, and now you get to AEW, and they're both right there. I mean, what was like meeting them and having them call your matches?
It's just weird the first time I heard their voices over me putting my hands in my pockets. It was like a surreal moment. Like, but I never really try to dwell on things like that because I think I might get overwhelmed. So I just kind of just put my shades on and keep looking, keep going forward.
No question about it. You guys was All Out at Wembley Stadium.
All in,
and then it was All Out like in Chicago.
Believe me, I know those two events very
All
very well.
In Wembley Stadium, 80. Oh, the numbers keep conflating. It's like WrestleMania 3 Pontiac Silverdome. Was it 86? Was it 94?
Yeah, there was like whatever the thing was, it was still the highest grossing wrestling.
It's Tony Khan.
Yeah, that's my boss.
Yeah,
he's the man. There was we keep running into each other. We keep doing that because it's just try to throw each other.
They're in cahoots, folks. They're in cahoots. This title's never changing hands.
I mean, I hope. I mean,
he wants that
I don't
to be
plan
true.
on losing it whenever.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep it forever if I had my choice.
All
there was
crowd,
79,000, whatever it was. The largest paid wrestling crowd ever in the history of professional wrestling. And I stood in the ring, put my hands in my pockets, and then turned around and got stabbed in the face by John Moxley with a fork. A week later, I'm wrestling John Moxley, and he's biting my forehead, making me bleed in the show called All Out. And it was we went from that, the 79,000 in London, in the UK, overseas, to a week later in Chicago, in front of a sellout, like 15,000, 16,000 people. It's the idea that we started with just 1 2-hour show on a Wednesday to now having 2 major pay-per-views in major cities across the world and selling them out. I just think I feel very proud to be part of the company.
Yeah, and I mean that's amazing right there. But back in the day, Hulk Hogan was known for having a creative control card, and I would picture it as actually like a credit card that he would swipe and say, "No, I'm using my creative control. I get to keep the titles." Anything like that going on in AEW. Of course, you don't have to mention any names. Sounds like you guys are a family, though.
It's a different culture in AEW, and I very grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't hear much of that in AEW. I mean, at least I don't hear any of it, but who knows?
Well, if you did, they're gone and they're somewhere else now.
I mean, they could be.
Not mentioning any names once again.
Be, but like, I never really like. I want us all to. I want AEW to succeed, and if AEW succeeds, then I succeed. And I think that is the culture that we're trying to create in AEW. And like, yeah, sometimes you got to look out for yourself. You got to take care of. But like, also, if we all take care of each other, guess what? We're all going to succeed. And I think that's the positive vibe of AEW. It's not like the cutthroat like it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but there still is competition. Like I see a match or I see a wrestler, what they're doing. I'm like, I want that. I'm going to try my hardest to get there, not by screwing that person over, but by wrestling whatever I conceive is better, a different version of that.
One thing that kind of strikes me as interesting is when it comes to professional athletics, the NFL, for example, versus professional wrestling. You saw Tom Brady perform until he was 45 years old. That is unheard of. The average NFL career is 4 years, I believe.
Right.
It seems to me, as in wrestling, and this goes back to whenever I was a kid to now, that you get better as you get older. What is it about? Is it the craft itself? Is it just knowing and learning, and it takes that long to become so as good as you are?
Right. Yeah, that's all it is.
And so it seems like 40 years old to me is a prime for a wrestler. That's my point. Do you agree with that?
I think it wasn't like that back in the day. I think I just think it. The older you get, the more you stay into something, you obviously learn more. And what does I say? Like 10,000 hours, you become like a master of your craft or whatever. Like I feel like the longer you do something, the better. You better get it if you want to get better. Like you have to take those and you have to get better. You have to learn. You have to make mistakes. I've seen people at 23. I mean, now I see it. Nick Wayne's 20 years old and he's on national television and he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Billy Starks is 19 years old and she is having incredible matches. I think there's a good variation. I think it takes some people longer to figure stuff out. But I always say persistence is the key, because if you stay persistent and you don't give up, you will make it.
Yeah, we got a fan comment here, Funky Punk NYC, that says, "Hi, I just want to
I know Funky Punk.
Well, here you go. I just wanted to tell Orange he's my favorite wrestler, and please keep doing what you're doing."
Well, I appreciate you, Funky Punk. Babetown, represent.
I mean, to be someone's favorite wrestler, and that seems like a small thing, but to me, like, because wrestling is, so impactful and has been since the old times when it was like intense and in circuses.
Yeah.
To be someone's favorite wrestler, Orange Cassidy's not somebody that cares about a lot. You're pretty laid back, but that's got to mean something.
It means something because I believe that this professional wrestling that I do, this art form is something that should draw emotion from the person viewing your art, right? Isn't that the point of art? Mm-hmm. And I think when you try to generate that and you make somebody feel something, then you get a connection, right? It's all about emotion. It's about connecting. And I tell people that, you go to an AEW show and you sit in that crowd and you start yelling for me to get up. I hear it and then I feel it and I will get up. It's that connection. I think that is very important to the fans.
You mentioned the Monday Night Wars and how we'll never get back to that again. And I wanted to ask you kind of why is that? I mean, of course, we had so many people that kind of built this business back then, and how important not just the wrestling, but the mic skills in that tandem are. Because I don't know if we see a ton of great skill like that. And you had the Hogan's Flairs and Triple H's.
That's the thing. Like, I think we do see that. I just think it's like they're not directly head to head. And it is also, how back then there was 30 channels that you could watch anything on, and the time to get that stuff was very limited. Like, so if you had that spot, you better keep, and now just go anywhere. You watch. The idea that you can go to YouTube and watch anything is crazy.
Yes.
And I think that the way people consume anything is different, and that's why you'll never get that. You'll never get it, because guess what? I hope people are watching everything. I hope they're DVRing things, and that's why I'm saying I think it's just never. I'll never have to make that decision. like I used to have to make when I was 12.
Right.
Like I had to watch one or the other. That's it.
And
That's
Monday Night Football, I had to make 3 decisions.
That's
What do I do?
That's exactly the point. It's like now, no, I click a button. I can watch whenever I want.
Yeah.
So I
And
think we'll never
TikTok clips, Instagram, all that's so
100%.
important. And a lot of it I
It'll
see
never
from that.
get back to that. And whoever says it's because people don't care about wrestling, you're just dumb. That's just dumb. That's a dumb thing to say.
It goes back to the Greek times. I mean, this is an art that is, to me, it drew me in as a kid because I always loved things that were larger than life. The bands I like are like Kiss, Motley Crue,
Sure.
bands that just like didn't look like you could walk off the street. I like guys, people that I can see in action. That it's not me. I can't do that. I mean, maybe we could. Maybe Orange, it will happen someday. But forget us for right now because we have a comment before we let you go. We got one more, and it's from Clear the Air with E again because they want Ospreay versus Orange again in a rematch.
They said please.
Is Will Ospreay.
Well, I mean, Will
On the-
Ospreay he's my coworker now. He will be in AEW soon. I think he's almost done. I think he's already up. But like, yes, Will Ospreay will be coming back. Yeah, I still. The first time I wrestled him, it still doesn't sit well with me that I lost. So I am going to be for sure looking for Will at some point just to kind of see where he's at now.
There you go, guys. This is Starrcade Media. This is Super Bowl 58 Radio Row. This is Orange Cassidy, the AEW International Champion from now and until he damn well pleases.
Yeah, go Chiefs, right?
Absolutely. You're getting the hang of it.
It took 30 minutes, but we got it out of him.
Here
Thank
we
you
go.
so much, Orange. We appreciate you,
Thanks,
man.
guys.
True honor. Thank you.